Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick defended the publisher's decision to ship Grand Theft Auto 6 as a digital-only game in recent comments to investors, leaving us to be the only gaming news show brave enough to see where he's coming from. But also, we still want a physical disc for GTA.
Yeah, it's a seminal release. It ought to be commemorated with something more than a slip of paper with a long code on it. That just doesn't feel right. And yet, we report on the business a lot. We follow the numbers, so it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to see the situation is going anywhere other than pure digital. And yet, still, like Bruce said, give us our discs.
Yeah, that's right. Lawrence, thanks for reporting from QuakeCon. It looks great over there. You look great over there. Hopefully you're having fun.
Yeah, check this out. I taped a webcam to the top of my little tower here. Actually, yeah, let me give you guys a look at that. Boom.
Oh, wow.
We put up the status for it. Stephanie made these little banners that have my name on it and stuff. So we're all decked out today. There's Steph playing COD. Hi, Steph.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited to tear into some video games, and I'm going to do that right after this.
All right, let's do it. So Zelnick said that physical game discs, quote, don't really make sense for the consumer during Take-Two's Q1 2027 financial earnings call with investors, as reported by IGN.
Yes, Take-Two, if you recall, Take-Two actually announced that Grand Theft Auto 6 would be digital only back in late June when they officially opened pre-orders.
Yeah, and a week after that announcement, PlayStation followed with the much more controversial announcement that they would be ending all physical disc production in January of 2028.
Yeah, it was interesting. Zelnick didn't really comment specifically on PlayStation's announcement. He mentioned it, but he instead chose to explain Take-Two's perspective on the situation.
Yeah, so we'll read the block quotes as transcribed by IGN. So Zelnick said, quote, our business is well over 90% digitally distributed. It's already a digital business. So in certain instances, especially if it's a big game, discs just, and note I said discs, don't really make sense for the consumer. Also, most instances you have to register online to play anyhow. So if you're already connected, who cares if you download digitally? It's all the same and it's much more convenient.
Man, that's gotta sting to people that hate signing in. It's like, well, you're already signed in. We didn't want to do that either. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. He continued though, quote, so that's where the world is going in our opinion. And I think Sony understands that. We certainly understand that. It doesn't mean we won't have physical editions now and then. I'm sure we will in the same way that there's still vinyl in the recorded music business. But in other instances, it just won't make sense.
Man, oh man, they're just doubling and tripling down over and over and over. Sony also briefly touched on the discourse. That's a Lawrence pun right there. Discourse in their investor Q&A last week.
I can't be the first person to hit discourse. I know. It just flash of inspiration. But yeah, an investor asks Sony CFO Lynn Tao if she saw any business impact now or in the future as a result of their announcement to end physical disc production.
So Tao's reply didn't leave room for disc hopefuls. She said, quote, we are not seeing any impact on our business as of now. Going forward about the content sales, large part is already digitized. Therefore, as a result of the discontinuation of a disc, we don't see that there will be any negative impact on our business.
And that's all they care about, right? Sentiment can go die as long as the numbers keep rolling in. And she's aware, at least, of player unrest, which she acknowledged by saying, quote, the players have attachments, and we have to think about how to respond to those feedbacks.
Okay, whatever that means. Sony's financials put some numbers behind their decision, with 82% of full game software for PS4 and PS5 going digital rather than physical. So that's 18% is on physical, and then the rest is digital.
Yeah, it's interesting that includes PS4, which I like. Older things tend to be a little more physical. At least that was always my perception back in the day. But there does seem to still be one haven for physical games in the console space: the Nintendo Switch. Of all the companies, somehow Nintendo is the only one that seems to want to keep physical alive.
Yeah, Nintendo's latest financials show that 38.5% of its sales come from physical game purchases. There you go, those little cards.
Yeah, and like most of these sales figures, because boy, does this get trotted around a lot whenever we talk about revenues, the digital side of Nintendo's revenues are bolstered by things that aren't game sales. So Nintendo Switch online subscriptions, download-only titles, and DLC all counts as revenue, but it kind of skews that ratio of physical to digital full game sales. So the true ratio of physical to digital is likely even more in favor of physical on the Switch. But we don't have full access to those figures.
Yeah, this is really interesting because obviously we've heard the internet now complain for weeks on every Sony social post and blog post and pretty much everywhere they can about Sony discontinuing discs, and then Rockstar. Look, they're all going to go in lockstep with each other. All the CEOs. That's they're one of them's not going to disagree, other than maybe Nintendo. But that's only because 40% of their business is physical. The rest, it's all digital. And like they said, this is like they're really slapping you in the face with their quotes here. Like if you really read those quotes, you have to listen to them if you want physical. And when they say it's not affecting our business, they're saying you're still buying our games. So you have to not buy games. That's the thing you got to do if you want physical.
And that's the one thing gamers can never do. I hate to say it, but I think the allusion to like physical media, even vinyl, is pretty appropriate in that we're all the enthusiasts here. We talk about this a fair amount. We're all the enthusiasts. We care a lot. We like the physical aspect, the physical totem of the video game. We even attach that to legacy feelings of gaming in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So there's a lot more feeling and emotion and history there than there is practicality, if we're being totally honest. I think practicality wins in the way that it won with movie streaming and music streaming. There's still enthusiasts in those spaces that buy the physical media because of attachments, kind of like Sony's CFO said. But the business, the bulk of the numbers don't give them any feedback they should be changing track at all. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to change. So in the future, we'll have to rely on boutique services like Limited Run or whatever to put out physical product for the boutique releases. And if that business swells, then they'll have more opportunity and more investment to grow. So hopefully that's what happens here, is that people are driven towards the outlets that are still supporting physical, even though the biggest ones are all, moving with the ocean. And yeah, Bruce, what you said about like the executives are all going to agree with each other because they're waiting basically for somebody else to break that ground. And then they all just swim in the wake of the one that was willing to smash through the glacier first. So weirdly, I found it a bit ironic, or ironic's not the right word, but it's kind of telling, I think, that Grand Theft Auto announced they'd be digital only. People weren't super happy about that. And then PlayStation comes along and saying everything's going to be digital. And then it becomes much more real. It becomes much more formalized. Even though Rockstar kind of led, I was a bit surprised that they went digital only for GTA 6, given how monumental that release is supposedly going to be. But they kind of set the tone. And of course, there's a lot of rumors that Helix, Xbox's next console, will also be discless. I think that's a fair assumption at this point. They might try to win some brownie points by having a little add-on, because it's a PC, you can just plug in something via USB or whatever. But I don't think it's going to make them money. And weirdly, Xbox is in a strange position right now where they want to win points with the core, but they also need to earn a lot of money. So I think those two things might bash heads a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Make no mistake either, by the way, the CEOs are pushing you to digital because that means they can make more money. Like this, like I don't want you to think we're siding with the CEOs here and like we're just telling you why they think what they think. But the bottom line for Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar, Sony, all of them, it's that it makes them more money. It eliminates the used market. It eliminates a lot of different things. They can control all the prices. Like, it's really bad for the consumer all the way around. And the only thing, I'm gonna say it again, the only thing you can do is to only buy physical. I mean, like, truly, if that's really what you want to do, and you're like, well, all the new games are digital, can't buy them, then I guess you got to stick to physical. And that is the way you're going to change things, because that's the way all of us are going to change things. Now, me personally, I've been digital only for what, 15 years, 20 years on PC at this point. And then like I can always pick the best market, like GOG, like Lawrence always recommends. But truly, these CEOs are only doing it to make money, just like them pushing AI. It's the same deal. They're only doing it to make money. It's not for any benefit of anybody else other than them.
Yeah, whatever benefits are for the consumer, we've kind of already realized, and that's convenience, and that kind of wins out in the end. We don't have to get up and haul our heavy gamer asses across the room to swap discs in the console anymore. I gotta admit, it does feel kind of good to see this grid of games and just be able to play any of them without having to swap anything. But you know what? Like vinyl, there is something to having to get up and walk across the room and put a disc in and like open the case and look at the cover art. But that's also for enthusiasts, and I understand that. I think a lot of boomer gamers like us will remember swapping discs in Final Fantasy VII or whatever, and how that's a moment of reflection and you get the cool like full screen art. those days are long gone. Unfortunately, some still make allusions to it or harken back to that day. But yeah, it's just where things are at. And like Bruce said, yeah, I'm always proselytizing good old games because they're as close as you can get kind of to physical. On the PC, you can just throw a bunch of installers on a USB stick and there's your physical because there's no DRM at all. So, it's not the same as opening a box and getting a manual and a cloth map and a journal and a message from the developers and a DRM code wheel that you have to match up to launch the game. Yeah, that stuff's really fun. But again, I think that's all sliding into the realm of boutique enthusiast gaming. And like Bruce said, the more money that's driven towards that, the more products they will put out. Because that's capitalism working in the good way, if we get there.
I don't know if we're there yet, Lawrence. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get there.
Yeah. All right, Lawrence. Let's move on to Inside Games is on your side. Go ahead, Lawrence. You take it on.
That's right. There's a shocking amount of free games to scoop up this weekend. Grim Trials is free to keep on Xbox console. You can just go to the Xbox website and redeem it, but it is only for console. I'm going to shout this out because I'm going to use this again. QuakeCon, they just announced a free episode edition for the Quake remaster that's available on Steam and Xbox console and PlayStation 5. I think it got pushed to everything. They said Good Old Games, actually, ironically, is taking a little bit longer to update. But there's a whole new episode made by Machine Games. They've made some other episodes for Doom and Quake. They're masters at it, very old school, like id Software dev types. So check that out for sure if you're a Quake fan.
There's also Breath Edge. That's free on Steam. And so is the VR game Blast the Past and Moonlighter. Ubisoft has also given away Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Yeah, it's a bit of an older one, but it's free. Price is right. Epic has given away a handful of games here. Beacon Pines and We Were Here Together are their sort of free games for this weekend. They also have slightly more amateur maybe games, but they're free again. So there's Spider Fox and Project First Contact. If you're looking for free games, check them out.
Xbox console owners can actually play Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint for free until August 10th, and NBA 2K26 Standard Edition until August 14th. So there you go.
Nice. Yes. And thank you very much for watching Inside Games Daily. Even though our show is technically all digital, that's just how it is. Hey, that's video. But hey, if you're around QuakeCon this weekend, come and say hi. I'm, where am I? I am in AH34. That's where I'm sitting right now. So come over and say hey. I'm also going to be streaming from the floor. I have this camera set up here. I have this mic that I can turn on to like ultra roominess. So we're just going to get like a little QuakeCon ambience of people making weird noises and shouting randomly. It's always a good time. And we'd like to thank the patrons that support our show in addition to you watching right now. That's the best thing ever. But some people actually kick us a few bucks every month, and we appreciate that. Keeps the lights on. So thank you very much, Lenny Nieves, Aristotle Cabot-Buras, Hero of Nern, Tito 007, and Tyler King for keeping the nails in our nail gun. Appreciate that. Thank you for watching Inside Games. Play some fun video games this weekend, and we'll see you next time.